Good afternoon, and welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to our Quantus server play stream. Today, it's going to be a lot of miscellaneous work, I think. Actually, before we get started, let me go get some food whipped up here. But if you didn't see the episode yet that I posted yesterday, did get the Tinker's Workshop room looking good. Why is this it's in some weird, let me see something real quick. It did this thing earlier, and I don't know. There we go. Okay, had to sort that out. Hey Darude, and welcome to the stream. It did this, I was going to start it sooner, but it did this weird thing, like right before I went to start. Oh, my inventory's full. Of course. Where it was like, I don't know what caused it, I've never seen it before, but it was like, downloading a new launcher for Minecraft, like just randomly, when I went to get on Quantus. And then it like changed my my settings and everything. I don't know. I was trying to get that sorted, but it seems to be better now. Yeah, like whenever I went through Curse, I hit play, you know. Oh, by the way, this is no longer, you guys will be happy, it's no longer key coded. Just for you guys and Sheridan. But yeah, it was just like, here's a new launcher I don't know, it was something about launcher version, and I was like, okay. And then it downloaded something, and it was weird because at first, like, instead of, it was like a long cylindrical Minecraft, like on the screen. It like jacked up the resolution and stuff. I don't know. So I was like trying to get all that sorted before I started the stream and everything. So that's why we're running a couple minutes late. But anyways. No, I know you guys didn't care for it either, so I wanted to change it up a little bit as well. We did get this beacon finished. I want to say it was before the video. I hate when I have my phone on the desk and it goes off and like the vibrate. When it's set to vibrate, it's like, and it makes the whole desk like vibrate. But anyways, this is the of course the smeltery that we've been working in. Now that it's done. So, very nice. I did expand it out, and I may end up doing something else with this border, because it doesn't go, it doesn't go around the whole room. So I may just remove the border. I'm not sure. I don't know. I kind of like it over there, but I also kind of don't like it when I turn around here. So, I don't know. I've still got to finish up the road here, but that's okay. And I had to make him one of my hammers. Hey, Crimson, and welcome to the stream. I had to make him one of my hammers because he was a little bit jealous of it. So, but yeah, he did get on for a little while yesterday. So I was like, yeah, you're still playing. Still never got the fairies to work. I've had the milk setting out in a couple different places since the last episode, and it just doesn't seem to work with the the server, apparently. Like, there's milk over here, too. Because, like, the mod creator showed a setup where you have it around a campfire, and it works, and honestly, the setup down here should work, but fairies from Druidry, like Children of the Fae. So it doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't work with the server. So I don't know if that's yeah, fairies. But I don't know if that's a common issue with Druidry on servers or not. So, and by the way, for some reason, Sheridan has set us up a red, white, and blue beacon setup here. So it's UK and America, I guess. Oh, but anyways, today where I want to be working, I think. Well, for starters, I'd love to actually plug into the train track system. But, like, it's way over here. Spawn track starts. So, we've got to take it all the way up through here. Which I don't know if that's something... I want to say that would be better to do off camera. It's going to be a lot of digging. But... I don't know. It's going to be a lot of digging and a lot of track laying. I'm not sure... That's somebody's... Okay, that's somebody's house. But it's like the farthest possible point for us to go with this. And we would start it actually across the bridge. So it would start... For us, it would start like right in here. And it would kind of go up to there, I think. So, because we wanted to across the bridge, so once you get off the tracks, you'll have to come, you know, across the big main bridge. That kind of spans across here. Because one day, once this is finished, this is where, you know, the big statues will be and all that is on this bridge. So, and it's probably going to go right through there. But I mean, that's 771 meters. Oh, we don't have any machines, though. That's the only thing. Like, Steve's Carts can do it, but, I mean, Steve's Carts is 2 eras from now, I think. Yeah, I know it is. It's Steel era, along with Railcraft and some other stuff like that. So, it'll be era 4 for that. So... oops, messed that all up. And I've noticed, by the way, that you can jump on these plants, and it doesn't, with the worms, it doesn't actually, well, it wasn't. Maybe it's just when we bounce on them, like, passively. But it seems like whenever I double bounce on them. When I'm using the slime boots, it doesn't break those. So, but if I just directly jump on it, it seems to. So, never mind. And we've also, that's another thing, we, like, for the rest of this era, hopefully it's going to end this weekend, and we'll move on to the next era. I know the only things that we're having to do for this era to, like, move forward, it seems like, is we're going to have our nether portals done, like our nether hub, and then we also have to get a train track system kind of up and going. So that's the 2 major deciders of when we can move forward, from what I understand. So I do want to work on the garden some in this era, do our train tracks. We've got to move our nether portal up, because the nether hub's like up at the ceiling. And yeah, so that's the major things I want to work on, I think, because ideally this is going to go up along the mountain there, and that's where Botania and Roots is going to be. Not necessarily at the top, but like kind of hanging on the cliff there. So we kind of have this like garden that kind of, you know, slowly goes up along the mountain there. So that's kind of what we're thinking. So, and I also got to do a bunch of work in this garden, because I mean, I've still got a ton of stuff that needs to go into this. The cactus setup and oh, different mushrooms and stuff. I mean, I've still got a ton of orchard trees to place. And I actually have to raise all the orchard trees now because we've whenever we put the ceiling into this, like it came up to right here. So we're going to raise this up. I've already raised the steps. So, that's not an issue. And now, honestly, I may leave the trees where they are. Because they kind of just stick out. Well, that's the only problem is I come into things like this. So, I mean, I could actually, this hatchet removes leaves. So I could just raise the leaves on it too. I don't know. We'll see. But, and let me check this. I've noticed my sugarcane farm. Okay, it's good. Wanted to double check that. So, I mean, it's a lot of just like big projects and nitpicky projects. And this building needs a lot of work as well. So, and the restaurant, I need to work in the restaurant too. It's just so much chisel work. And I was prioritizing storage and tinkers, smeltery. So, that was the main things. Okay. So anyways, let's quit rambling, I guess, and let's get, I tell you what, I want sandy bricks, I think. I think we'll start, regardless if we work on the gardens or the train system, we're going to have to start with one of those. I mean, we're going to have to get the, the sandy blocks, sand and bricks. I don't know if I should make an excavator or use the Maddock. I mean, realistically, the Maddock's about as fast because it like instantaneously breaks things. But yeah, we have a whopping 0 sand right now, so we're gonna have to do something about that. Let's whip up an excavator really quick, I think. And I tell you what, let's also whip up a. I need to get these emptied so bad. I'm bad about getting bags and them just kind of like building up like this. I'm terrible about it. Okay. Well, anyways, let's whip up a really quick. Oh, do I not have any cobalt? Need, what, 8 of it? And right now, Mistaken and Grok are on the server at the moment. And do we want to make a lumber axe too, maybe? Yeah. I know, like, I really wish that Iron Backpack was in the pack. Instead of Baggins's. Like, Baggins's is old. Like, you know how it's like, Baggins's, I think of 1.7, you know. That and Bag of Holding, I mean, that was great. 1.10, I immediately think of Iron Backpack, and that's because, like, Iron Backpack just has so many more features and so much more refined than Baggins's. Baggins's is just like, here's some bags, you know. And, like, Iron Chest is in the pack, so, you know, it would make a lot of sense to have the Iron Backpacks, too. And they're just so good. I mean, there's upgrades and all of that that can be added and different things. So, what's in this right now? What is the... Why is it not... That's cobalt. Why is it not... Empty the tank here. What, Baggins's? I don't know. I'm not sure. It always kind of reminded me of Baggins, you know, Bilbo Baggins and Gollum. But, oh, stop. There we go. I don't want 2 excavator heads, thank you. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Honestly, I would think so. I wouldn't put it past it, but I mean, that was kind of like the go-to mod in 1.7, but I feel like there's not... it's not as great now in 1.10. You know, that's the thing about 1.10, like a lot of mods that people like were like, okay, this is the bag mod or something. A lot of that stuff has changed, and so just using the 1.7 type stuff is, you know, it could be better. Let's see. Honestly, I may make the plate out of cobalt. Maybe. I do know that night slime. Do we still have any of that in here? We don't. Okay. So I want like 3 night slime. But yeah, like, I don't know. But I mean, like I said, I've made, yeah, Sky Factory's totally changed. And I love it. Love it so much. I mean, like, you know, there's no fluid cows. Instead, it has chickens, which honestly, I think chickens are even better than fluid cows were. Fluid cows, Like, the thing is, if you've seen my Sky Factory 2.5 issue, like, I had a really nice setup for, you know, the fluid cows and everything, where it would drain them and then it would make blocks with the items and all of that. Hey, Atrev, and welcome to the stream. But it ended up bugging out on me. That's the thing, like, 1.7, I'm over 1.7. I'm so over it because I had so many just bugs with 1.7 and you know, like, 1.7 I think was probably, at least in my opinion, it was probably the weaker mod pack lineup, I guess. Or mod lineup. I don't know. I know it was harder, from what I understand, it was harder in 1.7 to make mods for that. I mean, and, you know, I don't make mods, so I don't know for sure, but, you know, that's what I've heard. And, like, when I think about, say, 1.6, I thought 1.6, you know, was more stable, and, you know, I will say there was a lot of great mods that kind of surfaced in 1.7, but I think 1.6, in my opinion, was a lot stronger. But what else do we need? Is it binding, right? So honestly, binding, I dare say I'll probably go with cobalt again, because going with cobalt on the head and then as a secondary is like really, really nice, actually. That is bindings are 6 material cost, right? I mean 3, but yeah, 6 for me. Yeah, I mean, like, it's a more stable experience overall than, you know, I thought 1.6 was more stable than 1.7, and I found that 1.10 seems to be more stable, especially for being, you know, early in, you know, into 1.10. I feel like it's more stable overall, and I know it'll get more stable as time goes on because, you know, there's bug fixes, there's updates, there's all that stuff. So 1.7, I had so many, not even just crashes, but just bugs with 1.7. A lot of the mods didn't work well. Sky Factory 2.5 was like the crowning example. Like that just crashed. I didn't even get as much done as we've already done in Sky Factory 3, really. I mean, it was kind of early into YouTube, and then my videos could have went quicker. You know, I think I spent like 2 or 3 episodes working on the sieving system, and I mean, that's like a 1 episode, like, wham bam, it's done kind of thing now. But like my fluid setup, like the pipes just started disconnecting and stuff. I will say, Stranded Forever, I've been having, you know, I've had some issues, and like I said, I think that's due to corrupted chunks or something like that. But that aside, you know, I haven't really had any issues whatsoever in 1.10. any major issues. I mean, I know the stream last week we crashed this server, but you know, that kind of stuff I'll overlook, I guess, because it's gonna happen. Naturally, it's gonna happen. It's 1,224 durability. Mining speed is 2.24. We've got lightweight and momentum. Cheapskate, unnatural. Okay, I like that. I like that. And cobblestone should repair that, which is kind of what I'm after. I've discovered that I love having cobalt mining levels with being able to be repaired with cobblestone. It's just great. And then this one, yep, everything's good. So we'll take that. This is like my go-to tool setup. You'll notice like everything has, all of these have like cobblestone, night slime, and cobalt. Because they work so well. They really, really do. Okay, let me empty out. I'm not going to make you guys sit here and watch me empty out all these bags right now. But I would like to get one of these open. Or, you know, emptied. At least semi-emptied. But, and also I did have a request to do Project Ozone. But the only thing with that is, like, I already have a lot going on. Like, hey Frederico, and welcome to the stream. And honestly looking at that pack that I just said, Project Ozone, it looks like it would be a lot of fun. It looks like it would be something that I would have a blast on, realistically, and I could definitely see myself playing. However, due to the amount of stuff that I have going on at the moment, I've decided to probably wait unless there's just a big, like, I guess a large amount of people that want to see Project Ozone, because I've heard that Project Ozone is kind of in the works for upgrading to 1.10. So there's that. I mean, they're working on, you know, doing it for the 1.10 and having the Kappa mode and all of that. So if we did start it now, which, I mean, of course, Crack Pack is ending tomorrow's episode. So just a heads up. Just because I feel like that series, we've pretty much done most everything, you know, that there is to really... I mean, there's a few mods that we could touch more on. Honestly, like Thaumcraft, I didn't get as much into. And I think a lot of that's just due to the research aspect. It's just so draining. I'm sure you guys know, if you've done much with Thaumcraft, it is so draining. Hey. Cool, thanks. Well, not really. I've made the mention a couple times that series. Why does this keep getting broken? Yeah, I was actually teaching Sheridan last night how to use the smart, or yesterday afternoon, how to use the smart input. He was like, you should go see my video. So I went and I watched his video, you know, and I felt so bad for him because he was having so much issue. I don't know. We were complaining about this. I don't know who made these stairs, but these are the worst stairs. Like, I can't move forward up them. Like, you actually have to jump up these steps. And it makes no sense at all to me. But I think most people probably know, or a large amount of people, especially ones that jump in the stream and everything, should know by now that I'm ending Crack Pack tomorrow. Because I've made mention of it a few times. But it's just that series, you know, the fact that we've done so much, it's came so far. I mean, it's tomorrow's episode is episode. All these cows. What is all this noise? He's working. I'm pretty sure this is an auto cow cow killer setup, basically. Like the babies come in and then they die. You know, they'll suffocate. And that's how you get the auto leather and beef and stuff that he's working on right now. So I was actually looking at this yesterday. It looks like he's doing so that's what he's doing. And that house that we came out, that was his house, by the way, up there. I know I showed it off in the last video. But anyways, Craig Pack, like I said, it's 70 episodes in. You know, we're at the point where we've got you know, most everything done, and oh, stupid poison dragonflies from Evilcraft. And so I think, you know, it's that point anyway. Sorry it took me forever to get that out, but oops. Can't spell today. Pow. So we're gonna, that series will end, but basically it's there's like so much other stuff going on. It's you know, it's kind of useful to have that freed up space. So, because even aside from that, I've still got Hermit Pack going, and Direwolf, and Quantus, and Sky Factory, and Stranded Forever, and then Enderal, and Tales of Basiria now. So, hey, New to Golf, and welcome to the stream. Also, I was thinking about like the challenge series. I know it was only like a couple episodes. That one was just a lot of the challenges that we were getting and stuff like that they weren't so much speed runs. They were like week-long runs. And so like I couldn't do those and the other stuff and try to keep that caught up. But I am thinking about doing something maybe on like a Sunday type series. Some kind of like build series. I'm not sure, White Pumpkin. I think everybody else is able to see it all and everything, right? Like, well. Maybe try just restarting it or something. That might work. Unless you've already tried that, then that might not work. I'm just grabbing a little bit of wood here real quick. But I am thinking about doing some kind of a build series, perhaps. You know, it's not going to be like, let's build a huge base. But maybe more like tutorial-esque, bye, White Pumpkin. But maybe something more like you guys can vote on maybe we build a bridge, or I don't know, something, something like that, that maybe you guys want in your series or something like that. Very, very nice, Seabow. I'm thinking something like that, maybe, if you guys are interested in it. We'll probably, I don't know, maybe do a vote on it. I've got a couple votes that I'll probably be posting up onto Twitter in the next coming days. Because I want to see if, if people are interested, if a large amount of people are interested in Project Ozone, I will do Project Ozone. But like I said, once the 1.10 version comes out, that will get replaced with the 1.10 one, and then also, if we did Project Ozone, it would make things a bit tough, I think. Yeah, the shaders. But as far as like the time framing would be a little bit tough too, I think. But we'll see. We shall see. But then also about the build series, if that's something that people are interested in, I'll, see about doing that. But I don't know. I'm gathering a bit of sand at the moment to, because we're going to need sandy blocks to actually move forward with building like anything. Because that's what all the flooring and stuff is made out of. But it's not actually going to take that long to gather up all this stuff. And then I just grab some wood, of course. Yep. For the rude sandstorm. Oh yeah, excavator's much better for this, I think. I would like some clay too, but actually I know where a bunch of clay is. Actually, now that I think about it. Hey. But yeah, I'm hoping Sheridan doesn't have to work as much next week. Because, like this, honestly, this, this era has been, aside from just building, it's been fairly boring. Because it's mainly, Tinker's Constructs and Storage Drawers. So, yeah, I'm terrible about forgetting to eat. Especially with this kind of stuff, because it drains my hunger rather quickly. Alright, we'll start heading back over to there. And I forgot my slime sling again. I had it out last night, and then I forgot it. To grab it before the stream. But, like, overall, I think this era has probably been one of the most boring, because, like, vanilla content, that first era, you would think it would be the most boring, but it's a lot of getting started and gearing up and building spawners and all that stuff. And now it's like, okay, we have storage drawers, we have Tinker's Constructs. How are we going to make that last for 2 weeks, So, I mean, granted, well, I thought we were going to go to the Halloween dimension, but that doesn't work. Yeah, I don't blame you guys. I know Sheridan had made some suggestions to Thor about, maybe making this era just like a week or even just a couple days, Yeah, that's mainly what we've been doing I've been doing is focusing on building at this point. And yeah, I remember the healing axe, actually. You die. Let me grab just a little bit of clay while we're, you know, in the area and everything. But, I mean, thing is, like, actually, we're going to go over here. This is a great spot. We had made, you know, it's about like the blocks issue that I had brought up, like, to Thor. Like, sadly, it just, I don't think that, and the iron backpacks too. It just never, he never responded to me. So, I don't know. I don't think it's, like, the blocks drives me absolutely insane. Just because, I don't know. It just doesn't make, I don't know why blocks are, like, disabled at the moment. And yeah, Sky Factory, I've been playing a lot of Sky Factory too. Like Quantus and Sky Factory. That's why, and I think I do too. I actually have suggested to him multiple times about adding iron backpacks because, like, we were just talking about that before, like, earlier in the stream. Baggins is just, it's a 1.7 mod, you know? Like, iron backpacks is like the new improved Baggins is more or less, you know. And, or the new and improved bag mod, I guess I should say. And so just to, like, we're just kind of like stuck in 1.7 using Bagginses, I feel like. Because, like, if anything, like, okay, iron backpacks, I guess, you know, they have a lot of nice features. Make them Iron Age, you know. Maybe don't even give us a backpack until Iron Age. I would take that over being stuck with Bagginses forever. Because Bagginses, you make a bag, you're done. Whereas Iron Backpack, you can make lots of really nice custom backpacks and stuff. Hey, Bluefire, welcome to the stream. But, I mean, like I said, I'm doing well. How about you? Yeah, the pickup mode is nice, but I like the filtered pickup with Iron Backpack more. So you can be like, you pick up cobblestone or you pick up ores, and you know, there we go. I would honestly like the Ender bag from Bagginses if the Ender chest you could output, you know, output from the Ender chest. Because I was playing around with it and I was like, is there any way possible to automatically output from the Ender chest? And there's, I mean, at least nothing that we have access to at the moment, you know. Okay, I'm lost in these super tunnels. I was actually looking for my super tunnel, but I can't find it. Yeah, I know it's definitely been it's been going up a little bit. Considering what a month ago was, yeah, it was the beginning of January we hit 1,000. So yeah, see, this is not our super tunnel. I don't know where our super tunnel is. Sounds like you're having fun over there, Seabow. Actually, I'm going the wrong way, aren't I? I just want some clay. We had, I don't know where it's at. Because it should have connected all the way up to spawn, but these big tunnels right here, these are mine. And it's funny because, like, you'll notice all these, like, little small tunnels, they're, like, gray on the mini-map. But ours are, like, super, like, big and black, and that's because they're, like, 5x5 tunnels. Okay, I'll take this. I guess we'll start heading out, because I've got plenty of clay now. I just wanted to make sure, because I can't remember how many bricks we have over at the base, but we need to go. I guess up here. I don't know, you get lost down in these tunnels. Like, you really, really do. I bet you're having a blast over there, Seabow. Sounds like so much fun. Alright. Clean that up a little bit. Alright. So now we should be sorted to, I want to say that we have some bricks, but I'm not for sure, and I didn't want to get back to the base and lose all that. By the way, that market ate my emeralds from a couple streams ago. The one, the stream that crashed and pretty much died out. Oh yeah, they keep breaking all the portals. I don't know what's going on over here. I have no clue. Because like sometimes I'll come through and like the portals that I normally use work, and then other times I'll come back through and the portals don't. They're broken down. Oh yeah, that's gonna look good. It reminds me of Jay Jones's barn, kind of, on Sky Factory. So let's. Where are all the portals at? Okay, this is absolutely... Like, the portal that I was using was right here. The 0-0 portal. And now... And I don't know how... I really don't know how to get up to his base. Without... I don't know why they don't clean up all these trees. They drive me insane. Well, I guess we're gonna take these vines up. Maybe not. Oh, there's a tunnel. There's some kind of like steps there. Okay. And it leads to here. Oh, we're getting closer. I think I'd be upset if I just broke through the glass there. What is this? I have no clue. Oh. It's a way up and down, I guess, if you have a minecart track with you. Not quite sure where it goes out at, but... Anyways... Now, how do we get actually into his base from here, though? That's the thing. Oh, well, this will work. Okay. Yeah, it's like Era 3, there's flight. With the broom. So... I think he's working on a nether portal, I guess. This will one day be the hub. Sorry, Glenn. I apologize. Sorting out the streaming time. Like, there's other times that I'd like to stream. It's just hard between, because I don't, I just record and do here in the, like, living room type area. So, and then my neighbors get really, really loud in the afternoons, so. I'm kind of limited to when, because my neighbors are probably the noisiest people in the world. They drive me insane. But yeah, I do have a habit of jumping a lot, don't I? Oh, okay. What time zone are you in? Because I've actually been considering doing some like late night streams as well, depending. I mean, the only thing is it would have to be after I free up time, because right now I'm pretty much, busy. So, let me... There's no way this doesn't... Okay, this doesn't work. I didn't think so. Let me actually cook up like just some stacks of bricks, I guess. And we'll use the furnace. Oh, okay. I'm quite familiar with that time zone, actually, because that's what, of course, that's what Sheridan plays on. So, whoa, oh yeah, he threw all this stone in here last night. I was like, wait a second, what's all this? But yeah, I'm considering doing some later streams, but it would be in the future once I free up some time and whatnot. Because all the 1.10 packs were just like coming out like bam, bam, bam. And I was like, gotta play this, gotta play this, gotta play. So, oh man, it's been crazy. Because like, up until like last week, it was about 18 to 20 hours a day that I'll work on Minecraft and stuff like that. And then editing and recording and all that stuff. But and then usually I'll get like an hour a day and I'll play some Overwatch, That's just one of my personal favorite games, so I'll hop on there for like an hour. I don't know. Oh yeah, I'm waiting on those bricks is what I'm doing. But then, of course, I added Tails into the mix. So that's added a little bit of time. But, I mean, the Tails series is one of my favorites. I had to hop onto that one. I absolutely love the Tails games. So, and this new one, I have to say, is shaping up to be probably the best one ever. We'll see. I mean, up until this one, at least, Vesperia was my favorite. I love Vesperia, and actually ended up maxing out, like, achievement-wise, because I used to play on console, primarily. Well, I knew it was bothering, like, I know a lot of people didn't care for it, especially in, like, the last stream, and also Sheridan didn't care for it either. So, I was like, okay, I'm going to remove it. I'll take it off. Just because. But see, I'm one, like, if let's say I wasn't recording, I probably would rarely ever use sound mufflers. And also I would put codes on doors and things like that. Because I think, like, in my, like, personal playtime, I like the immersive aspect of it. I love, like, mechanism machines. I know they drive a lot of people insane because they're noisy. I love mechanism machines because of the noise, I think. Because they just immediately make me think of, like, a factory type, machines running and all of that. So, like, I will say I forget a lot of times to put sound mufflers on things. That's something I overlook a lot, I think. So, if I do that, I apologize. And I will try to get those added, on things. This is, okay. I couldn't remember. And then once we split these, that's going to be, 4 stacks of sandy stone. So we'll be good on that stuff for a bit. Actually, I should probably take that because I don't have a whole lot of reliquary spider drops. It totally slips my mind, like, all the time. That's like when I set up the blaze area on here. Sheridan hopped on here. It's like, oh, this needs a muffler. He just threw a muffler on there Because it's something like I don't think about it whenever I'm setting stuff up. I don't know why I keep closing that. It's auto close. So let's see. Do we want to work on the bridge? Start bringing the bridge across, or up in the gardens? Because both of them have to get done this era. Probably the bridge. I think so. Now we'll say next era. I think there'll be a lot more stuff to do. We'll stay a bit more busy and everything, and have a little bit more focused. I think a little bit more focused. A little bit more focused work and stuff. Because of course, that's like all the magic, you know. This is actually going to be tough because these don't place when you're standing above them like, you know, other stuff is. So, let's actually go to the gardens. That sounds good to me. Because otherwise it does take a while to build that stuff out. I don't want to bore you guys with that. But I mean, right now, the rest of this era is mainly just building and base cleanup, miscellaneous work, so... I do apologize. I just don't know. Like, we've come to the point where most everything that we need to get done prior to the next era, aside from just building and working on that kind of stuff, is done. Uh-oh. I think I just crashed it. Sorry. For some reason, Architecture Craft will crash anytime. I think I accidentally clicked on where the sign was. And it was like, okay, that's crashing. Alright. The Architecture Craft slabs. Yeah, I'm not, we're mainly doing it because there's certain places where we need a different ceiling with the slab. Or no, those slabs, we're putting them... Yeah, the architecture. I see what you mean. Yeah, like if you try to stand like you would normally, you know, make a bridge or something to get across, it's like it doesn't work. And also, you can't place them on top of other slabs or anything. Like, they're pretty much just stick here for, you know, that half slab type effect. And if you hold shift anytime, it throws them on their sides. And which, of course, makes trying to make a bridge across a major pain. So, they're not my favorite slabs, I guess. Like, we were using chisels and bits, but chisels and bits, also, it created a bit of lag, and also had some issues, items falling through them and stuff, so it's like, okay, well, we need to change this. And so we went with Architecture Craft, which I quite like Architecture Craft. It's a wonderful mod, but those slabs could use a little bit of work, I think. Also, I think if they made it so that you could actually like rotate and do stuff with blocks, it would be better. Because like those half spheres, I was playing with those the other night, and I was wanting to put them, you know, onto the wall or something like that and have like that half sphere type effect, but you can't. It has to be up or down, you know. It has to be like facing down or facing up. It can't be on its side like that. So, you know, that's definitely could use some work as well. Just allow us to like rotate them and stuff would be nice. But, oh well. Oh, but yeah, I mean, like, this week's streams, we probably won't get to do as much, like, of anything exciting. But I mean, it's just that's just how it kind of plays out. This era, hopefully, this era is the last like super boring one. I think, because like I said, magic won't be bad. I don't think. And honestly, stuff that comes after magic is not going to be too bad because, I mean, there's so much. I think magic could have been split up a little bit more because there's so much in that era. I mean, there's no way that you're going to be able to do it all. Oops. Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed light coming through in some of the areas underneath this. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, next era, there's so much in that next era. Oh my gosh. Like, I would like to... Honestly, I think Roots could have been an earlier era thing. I mean, at least, I don't know, like I kind of wish mods were split up more. You know what I mean? Like, instead of saying, okay, in this era, you're going to unlock all of Blood Magic. Like, in era, say, 3. If it was instead, like, certain aspects of mods, it would make a lot more sense because, like, for example, Blood Magic. Once we get into Blood Magic, I know Sheridan's going to be doing a bit with Blood Magic. And once we get the item conduits from Blood Magic, there's really not, if they're set up well, there's really not a point to ever change item conduits, ever. Because the Blood Magic ones are just far superior to pretty much anything available. That's, you know, I mean, there'll be certain points where you might use, you know, Endurio or something like that, but at the end of the day, the Blood Magic ones have, like, full item control. It's pretty much like having translocators, you know, but just built into the item conduits. So there's really things like that. Like, as we move forward with the eras, there's not going to be any kind of pick and choose situations. It's going to be like, okay, this is the best thing, and then you're probably just going to end up sticking with it. So I think for, at least for a lot of things, you know. But I don't know. I mean, I think it could use a little bit more polishing, but it is what it is, I guess. Which I know I've been speaking with somebody kind of as I'm kind of talking between FTOG and a guy from the Forgecraft group, because he contacted me about maybe getting permissions. And I mean, I had to get permissions from Thorgal, you know, but he was talking to me about, you know, getting permissions to make the era system into a mod, like to actually be used in mod packs, you know, maybe with some refinements and stuff like that, but using that idea and whatnot. So I've been kind of speaking between him and Thor, and it's definitely something that the Forgecraft people liked the idea of. And Thor's okay with it, you know, kind of doing it as a mod or whatever, for use in other stuff. So, yeah, I definitely agree there. Like, having all the mods unlocked is a bit of an issue. And then also, you know, of course, unlocking them one at a time can create that issue as well, I think. So, I mean, that's why I think probably if I had to choose my favorite mod pack ever, I would have to say Infinity Evolved. Hands down, like, Infinity was just so well done because you had to, you know, you had to tier your way up. You had to work through, you know, different mods and you know, slowly progress through them instead of just having everything available. Yeah, I think eras would be a lot of fun, and then if it was taken to the next level and it was done, like if they took it to the next level and said, okay, to pass era 1, you have to kill the Wither or something, or the Ender Dragon, and that was actually a goal that unlocked the next era, that would be wonderful. Right now it's all, manual kind of thing, which is fine, especially in a server like that, like this, that's fine. I don't know why I keep closing that, but if it was taken to that next level, it could really, I think it could really, really shine. So, but we'll see. We shall see. Yeah, I think if the era change was based on that, and I think that would be great. And even if it wasn't necessarily on kills, if it was, something a bit more, like you have to submit a stack of diamond blocks or something like that, to move an era, that would be okay too. If there was, that kind of, basically that kind of goal that was reasonable. I mean, I don't want it to be something that's like, okay, well, I just hit this era, but I already could go out and jump that era. At least make it something that would take that work to get to, and you couldn't just era jump, within the first day or something like that. Yeah, and if it was server wide, that'd be great. Like, I was about to say like, everybody has to do it, but the only thing about that is, of course, you get people on servers that, don't play, or don't play as much or something like that. But if it was like, the server combined had to do this, like so much of this item, or, kill the Wither 64 times or something, something like that, I think could really make it a lot of fun. And, almost like, if you ever played MMOs much, the good ones tend to have those big server events where it's like, it pretty much brings everybody out. Yeah, and it can't be, a one person thing. But MMOs a lot of times would have those big server events, and it would be like, everybody has to like pitch in and do this stuff for, like the server, there was it's been a while. It was back in Vanilla WoW. There was was it Encourage or something like that? There was the big bug one, that they did, and I know Rift actually had a fair number of these as well. But anyways, it was the big bug one, and it unlocked the 20-man and the 40-man raid. And I'm sure they had more since then. I was more of a vanilla player. AQ, yeah, I think it was Encourage though. That's the one, that comes to mind. Also the Rift one, or some of the Rift ones, but like they had the that shooter game with the aliens. They had that event where everybody kind of came together. Of course, Rift was great for that because you had those big, public rifts and everything. But anyways, I mean, I'm thinking something like that would be awesome. That would be absolutely awesome for, the eras, and I think it could really push modded Minecraft as a whole, and making it more about like, okay, let's rush to the best items and make this, and make it more of like, more of an experience, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So, because I mean, right now, I mean, Sky Factory, for example, which I mean, Sky Factory I think is built for this way, but Sky Factory, we're like 15 episodes in, and I mean, we're at that point where it's like, okay, we have all the resources. So I'm pretty much like at this point, we're working through building on the ship and doing things just to do them. Like in today's episode, if you noticed, it was like, I don't know what to make a spawner of. We don't need anything, but we're just going to make this just because. And I mean, that's pretty much the point that we're at. But, if there was like some kind of challenges, into that, which I don't think Sky Factory is probably the best example, because in Sky Factory, that's kind of the purpose, is just to get it to that point like as quick as you can. But just as an example, and if it had those like kind of challenges to unlock, access to more things and whatnot, I think would be great. But I'm really hoping to see Infinity Evolved come back, like a new 1.10 one, because like when they released Infinity, it's just kind of like meh. It's just, at the end of the day, it's just a kitchen sink pack to me. It was the evolved part that made it good. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean that's how it was like in both like Direwolf 20 and Hermit Pack. Within the first couple episodes, I had a quarry from in Direwolf it was actually additions, and then from Hermit Pack it was RF tools. And I mean, even if your quarry runs semi-slow at the beginning due to like power issues, that's okay because it's still free resources. But if that stuff, I think, like, and that's my thing, I think with Quantus, if it was done on a case-by-case scenario instead of like, this mod is not until this. Because, like, for example, right now, AE2 doesn't unlock until, I think it's like Era 7 or something like that, which is like nearly the end of the whole Era stage. So, in that situation, why would anyone ever use a grindstone? Because by that point, you're going to have, yeah. I don't have Flight on Hermit Pack, but that's only because I refuse to do extra utilities to get it. Like Stranded Forever and Direwolf and stuff like that, I had Flight really, really early. And I don't know if you saw, I did like a speed run, like a brand new game speed run to get Flight with extra utilities, and it took like an hour and a half, on a brand new game. So, I mean, I think kind of putting that stuff behind walls. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the mods, on their shoulders to put it behind a wall. But if the packs would do some kind of a system that you have to unlock things, it would be quite nice. But like the Quantus thing, like right now, Era 7, nobody's going to use Grindstone. If the Grindstone had been enabled, say, in Era 2, or Era... Well, yeah, Era 2, I think, would work if they put the Tinker IO one a bit farther back. That would be great, because the Grindstone... If you've ever used the Grindstone before, it's probably the worst thing ever, because it's all manual, and, of course, it breaks the handle. I still usually automate it and go, like, take a break or something whenever I do it. Just by putting something on the mouse, but the thing is, like, I think that's somewhere that Quantus could have really shined, because in a normal pack, I never make a grindstone, ever, because there's just no point. Like, I could make a grindstone, or I could go mining for a couple minutes and make ore doubling, automatic with power and everything. So, I think if stuff like that had been done case by case, Quantus would have been just insane. Like, which, I mean, I still enjoy the pack, but I still realize that there's room for improvement within the pack, I think. And that would be, for me, I think it would be that case by case item, stuff. So, and that's like, I think the blocks and ingots, I think there's no reason to have those locked. I honestly can't make sense of why they're locked. Like iron nuggets. I don't know why that's locked. But I don't know. Because like within the first couple days, like crafting stations were unlocked, watering cans were unlocked, all this stuff was unlocked that I feel like could have stayed locked, honestly. I mean, crafting station, yeah, it's convenient, and I absolutely love the crafting station, but is convenience like right out the gate what we're after. I don't think so. But yes, I do think Tinker's add-ons, Tinker's leveling, that kind of stuff should have been added. And I know it's been mentioned, but I don't know. I feel like, I mean, I've mentioned a fair few things, but I don't really get responses for it. So I'm to the point now I'm just like, okay, whatever. I'm just not even going to bother. Yes, Divergence. Actually, I had a series on Divergence a long time ago, back when I first started YouTube. Well, I say a long time ago. It was, it was what, probably 7 months ago or something like that. I did a Divergent series. Had a blast with it. It was absolutely wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. Because you unlocked mods and you had to like spend these items, and they weren't necessarily cheap items or anything like that. I mean, they actually were rather expensive, and they got more expensive as you went on. And it was, you kind of had choices too, which was really, really cool. So you could spend your items to unlock, say, Buildcraft or Ender IO or something like that, and it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with it. We actually have to go get more sand and stuff, which I'm just kind of talking at this point, which is like, honestly, that's what I like to do with my streams, is just like get a chance to just chat, But I actually did a series on Divergence. I think it only lasted about 11 episodes or something like that. But that is due to the fact that Buildcraft robots corrupted my world. So, I haven't played the new Conan game. I've seen some stuff on it, but I haven't personally played it. I know Sheridan is playing it right now, or he was, because I saw him on Discord playing it, and I messaged him, but to see how he was liking it, but I haven't heard back from him. I don't think. Let me check real quick. Sheridan says it's fairly cool. You should get it. But I mean, I don't foresee myself doing the new Conan game, and that's just because I've got so much other stuff I'm working on. He's still just working away over here. But yeah, Divergence was an awesome pack. I loved it. And had it not corrupted my world, like, after I spent forever working on this Britannia building. Like, forever. And then shortly after that, BC Robotics corrupted my world. So, because I was doing, like, a really cool setup for power. Or at least, I thought it was really cool. But, anyway, it was a setup for power using BC robots to do all my harvesting, and then it was the immersive engineering biodiesel setup. So the robots would gather everything and go drop it off, and all the stuff was sent to those biodiesel engines and everything. And then what happened was those robots corrupted it. So it was like, okay, which I know. I contacted the maker of Divergence, and I waited for quite a while for him to respond, and he didn't, because I was going to, see if, I was going to bring it to his attention, send him a crash log, that kind of thing. He did finally get back to me and let me try out a beta test for a new update and everything, and it did end up fixing my crash, but by that point it was like 3 weeks or 4 weeks after the fact, and I say fix my crash, it fixed my chunks basically. Hello. But it was like 3 or 4 weeks after the fact, and by that point I'd already put some other stuff in that time slot, and kind of went on, I guess. So, but I would like to, I don't know, there's so many packs I would like to do. I just don't have the time to do them, Like, honestly, Project Ozone looks like a lot of fun to me. But the fact that there's a 1.10 version that they're working on, and they're just waiting for a couple mods to get updated, it's like, okay, well, is it really worth the time to start that at this point, you know? So, I don't know. Now, once 1.10 version comes out, we will definitely start Project Ozone. Because I think, at the end of the day, I think it reminds me more of Infinity Evolved. Which, like I said, that was my favorite pack. And honestly, I think Divergence could have been my favorite pack had I got to play it more, you know. I will say that it takes a pretty strong PC to play it for 1.7 based content. Just because it has Chromatocraft, and if you're not aware, Chromatocraft is a little bit resource heavy. So, just a heads up on that. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the better packs right now, like I said, I mean, stability-wise, I'll take 1.10, and content-wise, I'll take 1.10. I mean, everything's just so much better, I think, on 1.10. But I think, as far as mod packs go, I think all the best mod packs are on 1.7, you know. There was a lot of really creative stuff that was done in 1.7. But as they start getting, you know, changed over and everything, I think 1.10 will get better, you know, moving forward. Which I know some people have already brought up working on 1.11. I know there's a few packs anyway that, and a few mods that they've been working on 1.11, and personally I wish that they would leave 1.11 alone for a little while, because I think what made 1.7 and 1.6 so good is that, I mean, we were on those versions for like years, you know. Mind Factory Reloaded, I haven't heard anything on where they're at with that mod right now. I do know that thermal expansion will be coming back soonish. So, which I do enjoy Mind Factory Reloaded. But it's not, for me, it's not one of my like most heavily go-to mods. Just because I got to where I felt like I used it too much. And it was kind of like, okay, well, this stuff could be done with other stuff. So I ended up kind of moving away from Mind Factory Reloaded in a lot of cases. Yeah, like, you know, there was, what is all these dwellers? Yeah, I see you. There we go. Thermal expansion is one of my favorites as well. And, the spawner. I want Draconic Evolution spawners back. I think those are the best. And, like, I absolutely love them. They're kind of like soul shards, but I think they're more balanced, because soul shards, you can have a max tier soul shard within a few hours if you want it. Whereas the Draconic Evolution one, it's like 1 in like 2,000 drop or something like that, you know. And you have to have certain weaponry and stuff like that. Draconic Evolution, I feel like, there's a lot of stuff from Draconic Evolution that's not in Draconic Evolution yet. But they did get the power system in, so I'm happy. I love the power system. It's best power in the game, I think. I think it's the best. But, you know, there was that weird point between 1.7 and 1.10 where, like, they were doing, like, 1.9 stuff. And then that just kind of fell through. And I don't want that to happen to 1.10. I don't want them to, you know, be like, okay, well, let's try and get updated to 1.11. And so everything will get stuck in, like, that limbo. Because, like, 1.9, I never jumped on any of the 1.9 stuff. Just because there wasn't really a good time to jump on 1.9, I don't feel like. Because it was like, Yeah, I'm on. I'm here. 1.9, it was like, oh, there's some 1.9 mods. Oh, 1.10's announced. Like, it's just like, okay, well, we'll just bypass the 1.9 stuff. And nothing really changed, I don't think, from 1.9 to 1.10. There was very minor changes within the mods. Whereas, you know, going from 1.7 to 1.10 is huge change. Huge change. So, but yeah, I do know that thermal expansion is... Sheridan had sent me a thing a bit back. Yeah, the 1.11 stuff, I'm hoping nothing comes of that for a long time. Because they need to pick a version, they need to stick on that version. And not all this like, let's jump to the next one kind of thing. Because we'll never have another 1.6 or 1.7 type, you know, time period if they do that. But, I mean, I guess maybe if they updated to 1.11 right now, maybe they would, you know, be quick enough to where the next Minecraft, like, official versions would be a little ways off. And then maybe they could make it work. I just wish they'd get, you know, everything updated and everything up to date, and, you know, it would be like being on 1.7 once again. So, I don't know. Hopefully they'll leave the 1.11 alone. Because there's just not... Exactly. That's why, like... I mean, also, I think Crackpack's in the situation to end it. You know, I mean, it's to the point now where everything... Like, you hop on and you're like, what do I want to even do an episode on? You know? And for me, personally, it's been so difficult to go back to 1.7 stuff. Because 1.10, I think it's just, everything's more polished in 1.7. I mean, 1.10. So, oh, okay. Yeah, I do wish all of them would update. But I know, like, Thermal Expansion's case, the reason it's just now getting updated is because Thermal Expansion, if you've ever noticed, you've probably never had that many crashes related to Thermal Expansion, and that's because it's a very, very, very stable mod. And that's because they spend a lot of time bug fixing it and stuff. And that's I think, what pushed it back a lot. Like, why we've been waiting on Thermal Expansion for so long is because they wanted it to be right when it came out. And yes, I do think 1.6 was the prime modding experience. I think at the end of the day, that was probably the best era for modding. Or I say era, but you know what I mean. It's the best time frame for the modding community and players and everything like that. Prior to 1.6, I had done some modded. Like, for the longest time, I was a vanilla purist. That's all I played was vanilla. And then, like, I started modding, which is funny because I always modded everything I played. But for some reason, Minecraft, I was a purist for a fairly long time. And then when I started modding, it was kind of like a no looking back kind of thing. But 1.6, I think, was where I really loved the modded stuff the most, I think. And sadly, a lot of those mods, you know, that was it. 1.6 was the end of them. Like Ars Magica, I miss that mod so much. Like, I wish somebody would just snag it and take off with it, you know, or do something like that. But, and yeah, the Greg Tech stuff, it's hard to believe that he's just gonna like be like, nope, that's it, that's the end. You know, we're not updating to any of the newer versions because, like, Greg Tech's just gonna get left behind with that, I think. I don't know. I think, which I mean, I haven't. Does Ars Magic have a 1.10 version? Or are you just messing with me? Because if... Uh-oh. I'm going to have to check that to the end. Let me say something here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let's see. Aha, I see this. Okay, but it did say it came out a few days ago. Well, that was a few months ago, but it does have the disclaimer for lots of bugs and world corruption and stuff. I will have to to look into that. I might have to add it to something just to play around with it or something. I loved Ars Magica. Like, it was one of my favorites. And I think a lot of it was just because a lot of these spell mods, like quote-unquote magic mods, will add in... At the end of the day, they're like, oh, here's some spells, but I feel like the spells are an afterthought. It's more... That's the thing that I think that drives me the most insane about magical mods, is the spells really... They tend to just be kind of like, huh. And it was just kind of like... Yeah. I don't have any more slots. That's the problem. Like, I wish I had more slots, but I don't. I think 1.10 is, in my opinion, mod for 1.10. It's the best. At least until, like, maybe like 1.12 or something, you know, comes out, or, you know. But, yeah, if I had more slots, I have a lot of stuff that I'd love to do to fill those slots, but I just don't have any more slots left. Like, I'm making slots that I shouldn't be making at this point, you know, and adding stuff in that I shouldn't be adding. Yeah, I don't know. Rebirth. Like, I really wish I had more time to do. I mean, I'd just be doing more, you know, more videos and stuff. But it's like before, up until a few months ago, I was doing usually about, yeah, I was needing sand, but I think I'm good on sand now, probably, honestly, because we're just making, basically this era, there's not a whole lot to do, so we're just kind of like talking, and, oh, I would love 200 hours in a day. Because, like, before I was doing about, oh, yeah, 1.10. I think of it as kind of like a mod rebirth. But I also thought 1.7 was kind of a mod rebirth, though, too. I think, you know, pretty much any version that they jump on and dedicate that time on, and, like, make it what 1.6 and 1.7 were, you know. That's just what I want from 1.10, honestly. Dude, I couldn't do 180 for sleeping. I already do about 20 for gaming. About 20 hours a day, you know, doing games and stuff. But sleeping gets about 4 sometimes 6 hours a day. Is what it gets. Yeah, I don't know though. Is that the case going from 1.10 to 1.11 though? Because I know, from what I understand, like 1.10 was supposed to be easier for modders than you know, it had been. But that would be the worst thing. Yeah, I don't know where anything is in Spawn because like they don't cut down trees here. It's just like a tree, just a dense forest. So I just bounce everywhere. But yeah, I think sorry, I got a little bit sidetracked there. I was reading chat and everything. Oh, stop it. Stop bouncing. There. Okay. Anyways, I don't remember what I was talking about, but you know, he got me off track there a little bit, but I know I was on a tangent about mods, but yeah, I just wish that they would just pick a version, stick with that version for at least a little while, you know, instead of jumping around too much. But I'm trying to get out of the only exception at this point, I think. The only, which I mean, right now I don't have any time slots whatsoever. I really don't. Even though I want to add things and all of that, I really need to cut down on some things. Which, I mean, luckily Crack Pack, that's great and everything, but even still, I've got way too much going. But yeah, it's, well, I've heard, I don't know. I mean, the taxes I haven't had to deal with really yet, but I've heard that you can just report it. Basically, they pay taxes like quarterly taxes, and that's how like YouTubers tend to handle it. I don't know. I don't know anything about taxes, but that's just what I've heard anyway. But the only thing I think that could make me go back to 1.7 at this point to play is if I decided to do Project Ozone, which we're probably going to do a vote on that. I may even post the vote up tonight if people want to see the Project Ozone stuff, but I will say that that series videos will be tentative on when I have time to do them, because of course, yeah, that's the other one that I was going to get to. Like that's the only two ones is Greg Tech and Project Ozone is the only thing I could see myself going back to 1.7 to do, and that's just because like, you know, there's a lot of other packs that are coming out, and I know I've had some suggestions for a few packs that are like kitchen sink packs. But realistically, I prefer, at the end of the day, I think I have more fun with a pack that's more focused. Not necessarily few mods. Like the Direwolf pack, I enjoy the Direwolf packs. But after a while, I feel like, okay, there could be a little bit more uniqueness to it, I guess. Because the Direwolf packs, I think, are generally the same, you know, X number of mods. And there's very few variation from pack to pack, I think. And I feel like the Direwolf pack plays it safe. Plays it really, really safe. Which I still tend to play the direwolf packs, but I think they could be more than what they are, you know. And Project Ozone, I was thinking Kappa mode, because I think that's the next step above Titan mode, from what I understand. Like, Titan mode's like pretty difficult change, and then the Kappa mode is like the next step, I think. So yeah, I was thinking of doing that, because I've actually had some suggestions for it, like people that, you know, that wanted to see the, why did there was more bricks in here. What are the bricks? Okay, there we go. I have had some requests for Project Ozone. The only thing, like I said, is Project Ozone, they've announced a 1.10 version once the mods get updated. So if we did Project Ozone, once the 1.10 version came out, I will say that we'd probably go ahead and change over to the 1.10 version. Assuming that they've said that the Kappa mode and the Titan mode and stuff would come in, you know, around the same time as release or whatever. If not at the same time as release with Project Ozone. So in that case, if, you know, the harder version came out and everything, that's where we would go to once that came out. And yes, from what I can tell, from what I see and everything, it does really, really remind me of Infinity Evolved. And then in addition, it has questing. So, you know, I think it would be a lot of fun. I really, really do. So I think we're probably going to do a vote on it if people want to see that. Like I said, at the moment, unless we cut back on a series or something like that, it would be tentative on when I have time to do the videos. Take care, Ultimate, and thanks for dropping by. But I do think Project Ozone would be a lot of fun, like after looking at the pack and everything. And really, Jordan, I mean, if you're playing Direwolf and you're enjoying it, then, you know, that's Direwolf pack. I say it's kind of like is just because, like, it's been played safe, and the Direwolf pack, Direwolf 1.7 pack, Direwolf 1.10 pack, there's not all that much that's different about them. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, oh, but he added Draconic Evolution. Well, that's great, but adding one mod doesn't, you know, really revolutionize a pack. And I know, I mean, Super Circuit Maker and some things like that were added, but it's still, I mean, it's the same. You know, if you look at the Direwolf pack, there's so many tech mods, so many magic mods, and, you know, that's about it. And there was some stuff I was really surprised with the new Direwolf pack that wasn't added. Because, like, Roots, I know that Direwolf had spent some time playing with Roots. He enjoyed it. But yet, when the Direwolf pack came out, there was just no Roots. So, I mean, there's certain things like that I was kind of surprised about. But I feel like, at the same time, I feel like the Direwolf pack is probably one of the best packs if you're starting out, you know, with modded and you're kind of getting used to it and learning it. And, you know, if you were to jump onto a pack that's like Hermit pack or something like that, there's so many mods that you have access to that I think it's difficult for somebody that's newer to modding or something to just jump into a pack like Hermit pack and say, okay, well, here we go. Because whenever you have like an issue or something that you're trying to do, there's like many, many, many different ways with Hermit pack to do that. Yeah, I agree. The obscure mods, I think, is what makes a mod pack really stand out, at least for me. Because, like, Crack Pack, I had a ton of fun with Crack Pack, but that's because it had things like Choco Craft. And also, like, horns, hooves, and wings or whatever. I didn't really personally play with that mod, but it was cool seeing the horses around, and, you know, it made that mod pack memorable to me. I personally like mod packs that add, instead of just having, I haven't played with with Silent Gems yet. Evil Craft is in this pack. I haven't personally played with it, but I will be, diving into it next era because I'm quite curious. But I think that's what makes a pack memorable to me, is having something that kind of makes it stand out. And I mean, things like Infinity Evolved will always stand out to me, and that's just because, they made that lasting impression because they brought something new to the table, But I think what bothers me the most about the Direwolf pack is there's never really any attention to exploration aspect. And I think unless you're playing some kind of Skyblocks, there's a lot of great exploration mods and things that add to the world, to just not put any in there. And I'll be honest, personally, one mod that I would like to see more of, and I know a lot of people disagree, but I would love to see more Lycanites mobs. It was something that I played with it a lot back. Of course, the AT launcher has a lot of mods like that you don't see on the FTB launcher or the Curse launcher as much. Well, mainly the FTB launcher, and it's usually more obscure packs, I think, that you'll see Lycanites mobs, because a lot of people don't like it. I love Lycanites mobs because I like that difficulty added to the world. Instead of it just being like, okay, let's go mining, let's get machines. There's too much of just the same rehashed experience. Granted, I love it. I don't get tired of Minecraft. But I feel like when something like Lycanites mobs or something is added to a pack, it revolutionizes, especially that starting aspect, because you can't just, okay, I'm going to go gather wood, I'm going to do this, because you also have to account for, okay, there's going to be all these mobs out in the world, and I've got to be extremely careful. And that first day is so difficult, Yeah, I think Direwolf has its place. I really do, because I think when people start modded, Direwolf is the pack that they should get on. Direwolf is the perfect tutorial pack. Aside from something like Be Happy, I think Be Happy was a great tutorial for bees. For people that didn't quite understand bees, didn't know how to use bees. But, I mean, I think for someone learning mods, I think Direwolf is a great pack. But for people that have been around the block, and played with, been in the modding community and stuff like that for a while, I just don't think the Direwolf pack really brings anything to the table. And, there was a lot of mods that he could have added, like new mods and stuff to really showcase 1.10. But I think at the end of the day, it was mainly like, he was like, okay, new 1.10 mods, here's actually additions, here's Super Circuit Maker, here's, I don't know, that's the ones that come to mind. I'm sure there's a couple more, but, you get the idea. And, I mean, how many times has there been a Direwolf pack that didn't have Steve's Carts, Railcraft, Ender.io, all this standard, just, okay, here's your run-of-the-mill, every Direwolf pack kind of stuff. So, I would love a new Mad Pack. I would so love a new Mad Pack. I did play Banished, and I quite loved Banished a lot. Honestly, 1.7, the 1.7 packs I think that stood out the most to me were, of course, Infinity Evolved. Also the Mad Packs. I think the Mad Pack series, all of it was absolutely spot on. It was so well done. Banished, Blood and Bones was another one of my top favorites. Let's see. There was, of course, Forever Stranded, or not. I'm thinking of Crash Landing is what I'm trying to say. Crash Landing I thought was pretty memorable. Agrarian Skies, that kind of stuff. But I do think that probably my favorite. Oh, and Journey to the Core. Journey to the Core was an excellent pack as well. A lot of fun. Generally, if a pack has Lycanites mobs and stuff like that, I tend to love it because Terra Firma. You would think that I would have loved Terra Firma, and when I have a series for Terra Firma. When I started doing YouTube, I was like, I was looking at packs to do, and it was shortly after I started because I did a little bit of Revolution and Pixelmon, and then I got my new monitor, and so I was like, okay, well, we're just going to do a brand new start. I started Terra Firma. I started Terra Firma and Infotech, and I think it was Sky Factory and something else, but Terra Firma was... I thought I was going to love that pack. I really did because, it advertised like steampunk style, and I'm a big steampunk fan. And, the tech in that pack really was. I mean, it was the Mr. Flax's steam-powered mod and, some of that stuff. So, theoretically, I would have absolutely loved that pack, but I hated that pack. I hated that pack so much. It was a lot of fun. It really, really was, until I got to the part where it's like, you got to bend metal and cook up blooms and all that stuff. It just wasn't, it was like, okay, that's not fun. Because like it got so, to me, it got so convoluted that it just wasn't, something that I could be like, oh man, I want to play some Minecraft. Let's get on Terra Firma. But up before that, I would have absolutely stayed on that pack for like ever, because I loved it when it was more the survival part and like getting food, knacking stones and stuff to make tools. That was kind of fun, but I just didn't like the whole ore processing stuff for it at all. What about iron backpacks? I don't know why this stuff is visual bugging. Yeah, the grindy stuff doesn't bother me. The grindy stuff does not bother me. But I mean, because I quite enjoyed like Infotech and whatnot, but it's for me it was the convoluted. That's kind of what I call it. It was the convoluted stuff where it was like, oh, you want to make a suit of armor. Like that was one thing I was working on, and it was like, you've got to cook this metal by sticking it in the ground, filling the ground up with like hay and logs and lighting it and letting it burn for like a day. And then you got to get over there really, really quick. Make sure you're kind of wait around for this metal, because then it's going to start cooling down. You got to pull it up out of the ground. You got to pour it. You got to you got to hammer it out. And you've got to like bind these plates together and do all this. And then it was just like, okay, this isn't any fun anymore. Like, because I found myself in that pack standing there waiting for metals to finish cooking in the dirt, and to me, I think that's the point where I was like, okay, this isn't really my thing, I don't think, anymore. Because it was, I don't know, it was like real life blacksmithing on a game, and I just couldn't, I don't know. Because it was taking me like forever to make a suit of armor. Or like, just make like one piece of armor. And it was like, the durability on them wasn't that great. And when I read on the forums, like people were like, don't even bother making armor. Like, it's just too much work and it's not worth the time investment. Until you get like later game and stuff. And it was like, so literally it's so convoluted that people didn't want to make armor. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe this pack's not for me. I was like, I give up. But I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of people loved it, and you know, I'm not against the pack. It's just it wasn't my kind of pack, I think. Ultimate was really, really good. I mean, for the, you know, for the time. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a kitchen sink pack, but it was great, you know. And for server play and stuff like that, it was. See, I played Resident Rise 3 on a server. It wasn't my first pack or anything, but that was probably one of my most memorable like server experiences because it was a great server. And of course, Resident Rise, there was a lot of like major changes where they had to like regen the terrain and everything. And I remember a couple times we had to regen the terrain, and everybody was like hanging out and blowing up people's bases together and stuff. And it was a lot of fun. It was a whole lot of fun. It was just a public server that I played on, but the community on there was really, really good and like really active and stuff. So, like I remember in my base, I had this like big. It was almost like an octagon type building, and whenever you went in, like you went through these like entryways and stuff. And then there was like this big elevator that kind of went down, and like the interior theme was kind of based off of like the Umbrella Corporation, you know, from Resident Evil. Is kind of how I built it. So you had this big elevator that goes down to like the nest kind of thing, and so what we did whenever we were about to have a server wipe and, you know, regen the terrain and all that on that base is we all went to my base and started playing with Mind Chem and making all these like chemicals and just kind of like tossing them around. So there was like chemicals like filling up this like big underground base and everything. And you know, it was stuff like that that I think made that community so memorable. I mean, we had a blast playing on there. And you know, the majority of the players, for being a public server, I have to say the majority of the players were very, very good and like knew what they were doing. I mean, you know, we had some newer people and stuff, but everybody was like really nice, and everybody you know, on there kind of helped him out and everything. And it was just I don't know, it's probably the best public server experience I think I've ever had, or probably the best server experience I've ever had, public or private. That one was by far the best. But I don't know. I miss Resident Rise 3. Oh yeah. Iron backpacks. Gotcha. Yeah, and I actually, you know, early into the Direwolf series, I spent a little while going over Iron backpacks. Absolutely love that mod. And that's actually one of the mods I've suggested for this pack, but I don't know. I don't think it'll happen, I guess. Oh, but it is about 4 right now. So it is about time that I'll have to wrap this up. So, yeah. See, I was about the same. Was thousands of hours on there, I have to say. Yeah. I mean, I think that really, really makes the server. And makes it a memorable experience, you know. I mean, it could be a Direwolf pack, and you could still spend that much time on a server if the community's there, you know. And you know, one day I hope to find like that kind of Resident Rise type server, hopefully. And I mean, that's something that I want to do in the near future, honestly, is start up my, like, have a few servers, you know, of our own for the channel and everything. Because I think that would be a lot of fun. I'd like to get to where, instead of, you know, having as much single player stuff, I'm trying to move away from single player stuff. I think the server stuff is more fun, and everything. And what I'd like to do, like, long term is, you know, have some servers in place for the channel and you know, we could just have it all as like a server type thing. Still do my series on it and everything, but, you know, still have that ability to, you know, people can just drop by or, you know, whatever. I think that would be more fun. So definitely something that I'd like to do in the near future. Maybe in the, you know, in this year, you know, throughout the year. Because I've got some things I'm working on and doing and aiming towards doing for the channel and everything over the coming year. So that's definitely up there. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, if your internet, that's the worst thing. Is like if your internet's acting up. Because I know at my old house, my internet was terrible. So I've definitely been there with you. Oh, I would love a server with Ars Magica. Like grab a pack and throw some Ars Magica in there would be absolutely wonderful. So maybe over the course of the year, you know, like I said, there's some things I want to do and whatnot. So hopefully we'll see all that stuff come to fruition, you know, this year. But oh, I've been there. Like when I first started playing Minecraft, it was terrible. It was terrible. I remember just on FTB Monster Pack. I remember I was so proud of my build, and it was basically 4 big cobblestone buildings. Like, you know, I've been there. Which, I mean, I think building is something, you know, I always try to improve on, because I think there's a lot of room for improvement. But you know, I think I've came a little ways from back when I started Minecraft and whatnot. This building drives me insane. It's got too much work that needs to be done to it. But yeah, I think. Oh yeah, it's if you guys could see the awesome builds that I used to do, it was great. Some pretty bad stuff. Pretty bad. I've got a I don't know where it's at, but I've got one. I've got one somewhere here. Actually, I think I've got one. Right here. Da-da-da. But that building one doesn't work for architecture craft blocks, sadly. I wish it did. I really, really do, but sadly it does not. But I think I am going to end up the stream for today, because it's about that point. I really was trying to get this stream started earlier today, but I was up. Let's see, I was up until about 7 or 8. I think it was 8 o'clock this morning, my time. And so then I was like, okay, I'm going to go to sleep. And I know, right? If I had the ability to, I would just stream, you know, for probably like 4 or 5 hours straight. But that's why I've been trying to start the streams earlier. But like, I went to bed this morning at about 8 o'clock. And then I woke up at 12. And then I had to put in which I meant to wake up before 12. I was trying to sleep only a couple hours, but I ended up sleeping 4. And then I had to put in the information for the videos that I posted and do the thumbnails, which are actually, the new thumbnails do take a little bit longer, which they do look a bit better, I have to say. So it's time well spent, I think, but it does take a little bit longer. So I had to get all that done and then, you know, make myself presentable because I was asleep, you know. Um, but yeah, and then I had to eat a little bit, like when I first woke up, you know, kind of like my breakfast, I guess. But yeah, so I am trying to start them earlier, but hopefully in the near future, I'll get that all sorted out and everything. So fingers crossed. But I do want to. I know we're looking at maybe in the near future moving, like in the nearest future. It's going to be one of those things like maybe in a year or something like that. Depending on how things go, we do want to move. And when we move, I want to have a separate room for like recording and stuff like that. And then maybe once I have the means to do so, I want to kind of soundproof it. But like right now, afternoon streaming is very, very difficult to do because of the neighbors. So, because like they'll sleep until about noon, sometimes a little bit later, and they'll get really active in the afternoons, and they're so loud. They're so loud. So afternoons is usually just prep time. So, but yeah, so I am going to end it out here. And I do have a direwolf video that'll be coming later this afternoon. I just have to finish getting it edited. Also, if you didn't see my post, I know I posted in the Discord and on the YouTube channel discussion. Yeah, I know I'm ready to move away from these neighbors. I know the ones right there hate me. So, because there for a while they started like blaring this music, and so I'd knock on the wall, you know. So, you know, I figured, well, maybe they'll get the idea. And then he got mad that I knocked on the wall because it disrupted him. And came over here and, like, threw a fit. So I told him, okay, next time I'm just going to call the police whenever you start blaring the music, you know. And he hasn't done it since. But the ones downstairs, I had to call the police on recently because they were blaring their music. And it's terrible. I have just the worst neighbors ever. But anyways, but yeah, tomorrow I've been behind on editing is the main thing. I've got a bit of this recording done, but tomorrow Crack Pack, Hermit Pack, Stranded Forever should come out, along with hopefully a Quantus episode. I don't know. I mean, there may not be a Quantus episode tomorrow just because it's mainly building, I mean, at this point. Or I might do like a speed build if we do some kind of build. Yeah, I don't know. But there may be a Quantus episode. But I'm going to prioritize the other ones before Quantus at this point because it's kind of waiting for Era 3, really, at this point. So we'll see. And yeah, they're really kind of rude people. I mean, I finally got him to turn it down by threatening to call the cops, but, you know, or in the case of the ones downstairs, calling the cops. But, you know, they'll crank it up to where it's like, you know, it's that heavy bass stuff, which drives me insane because, for one, I don't think that music sounds good. When you just have nothing but bass, it's just, there's no, you know, you lose the music part of it when that happens. Like, there's no balance between it. And there was just so much bass, it was just shaking, you know, the floor, and it's just like, God. Like, I don't see how people don't have better manners than that, I guess, is at the end of the day, I think that's what I'm thinking. But, you know, I don't know. Because I'm probably like I'm a very quiet person. You know, I hate noise. And, you know, and I'm one, I always have my headphones on too, so nobody has to listen to my music. You know, that's their choice if they want to listen to it, but I don't want to force my music on other people, you know, that kind of thing. But anyways, but yeah, Friday I will try to start the stream sooner. I promise I will do my best to start it sooner. But no promises that it will happen. I'll promise to try to do it sooner, but we shall see. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you guys next time and all that good stuff. So, And I do appreciate you guys keeping me company. I always have. That's one thing I love about doing streaming. Is just getting to get on here and just chat. I mean, we didn't do anything of importance during the stream, so it's just basically building and stuff. But the talking, getting the chance to talk with you guys and everything, one-on-one, is a bit more fun, or face-to-face. I don't know what you'd call it, but real time, getting to talk to you in real time. I do quite enjoy that. So, and in the future, streaming is something I'd like to increase, do more streaming while still doing videos. I've got to find that perfect balance. So, but yeah, anyways, I think I really, really appreciate you guys for stopping by, and I had a great time and everything. I do so much jumping. I can't help it. But I'm that way in a lot of games. Like when I started playing Tales just the other day, the first thing I did was hit the spacebar trying to jump. It's just, I think traveling is more fun when you can jump. So, yeah, I think my videos I try to do more focused, whereas my streams I try to do easier things so that I can focus more on the chat and talk and do that kind of thing, because, I think that's at least for me, and I know some people are that way. It's the most fun for me in the stream, just getting to talk with you guys and I know slime boots are my thing because I can do stuff like this. But oh yeah, I think there was probably more jumps in the episode than blocks placed, actually. I have a feeling. But yeah, I like just the more casual type streaming where we can just kind of sit back and chill and chat and all that good stuff. But yeah, so I am probably going to start dinner here in a minute. So, and yeah, I appreciate you guys. Once again, I appreciate you guys stopping by and keeping me company and all that good stuff. And, like I said, there'll probably be a vote over the next couple days about honestly, I'll probably post it in a little while later this afternoon. I'll post it up on Twitter, and if you guys want to vote on if you want to see Project Ozone, you can vote. So, if so, that's something that I will definitely consider doing and everything. So, but yeah. So, anyways, take care, guys, and I will see you guys next time and all that good stuff. So, have a good one, and thanks for dropping by. And I always go to say goodbye, and I realize I don't even have the stuff open to actually end the stream. So, but anyways, have a good one, and I will talk to you guys soon.